Hey, hey. So, as a lot of people talk about the light and the dark, and I do as well, I want you to understand a little bit of a difference. It's not good and evil. Okay, so I want you to take that out of your vocabulary and your polarity thoughts. Okay, I want you to come right here to the middle with me and just sit on this tightrope. And I want you to see things like the moon and the sun. Both of them have very powerful vibrational energy to them. One comes up and fortifies with UV rays, etc., etc. One cools down and allows for certain parts of the world to have the sun, certain parts of the world to have darkness, right? So we have this polarity that really is just part of the world, and it's not a polarity. It's not the opposites. They both are in conjunction with each other. You know, you hear that expression, they get along like oil and water. Well, let me tell you what recipe doesn't have that, because they both complement each other. It's not just in salad dressings, it's in cake mixes, it's in so many things that we make, oil and water, right? They complement each other so magnificently that if one was missing, that recipe would never be the same. So when we talk about light and dark within ourselves, we have to get away from this conjured up good, bad stuff, evil. It either has to be, if it's not God, it's evil. How many interpretations of God do we have? How many religions do we have? How many people fight over what they think the God source is and what the real name is, and for God's sake, what day it should be that you're supposed to worship? Enough of that. That causes more divide and polarity within the real alignment of the God source, prime creator of all that is. The universe is your school of lessons. And so the more you can pull back from those paradox, perceptions, the more you can see how everything needs to be in more balance, creating harmony within each thing. Now let's talk about frequency, shall we? So let's talk about, since I seem to be on a roll about what goes together in a mix to make something. Let's just say, in this mix, it calls for a cup of water, but I take a tablespoon of that water out and I add a tablespoon of arsenic or formaldehyde, whatever I have handy in the kitchen, right? And that's how I make whatever I'm making, and I pass it out to my family, and I make it again, and I pass it out to my neighbors, and I make it again. I'm selling it at my local markets, and I make it again. And now the markets are expanding to different towns and cities, and I make it again and again and again. Now, what happens to those individuals when they're getting that teaspoon or tablespoon of formaldehyde or arsenic? What happens to them? They're going to have some sort of toxic reaction, some worse than others, right? Well, this is what happens with certain frequencies when they're blended into our music. So you can have 9 amazing musical ingredients, right? And then you can have one note that's added in there to create an issue. And this happens with many different kinds of music and genres. Many. And you wonder why certain people get either irritated or riled up or into depression or anxiety or into sickness, and some it doesn't seem to phase, or maybe it just hasn't phased them yet. Because nobody's immune. Now, Made my point there, right? Now let's go into immunity. It would be like we're all in the middle of germs every single day. Viruses, germs, bacteria, every single day. Some can't enter because they have to enter through the blood. So unless you have a wound that's open, certain parasites, bacteria, viruses cannot get in, right? So we breathe them in every day through car exhaust, through whatever we're spraying in the universe, whatever we're spraying in our universe, in our bathrooms, our houses, all the perfumes and all that other stuff. So if your immunity isn't intact, and your immunity would be many different systems that work together to create immunity. There isn't something called the immunity system, by the way, just so you know. There are different systems that work to create immunity, which means strength against invaders. So we have to raise our light. We have to invest in organic and healthier foods. We have to invest in higher quality water, higher quality air control within our domains if we can. So we start to pick and choose herbs, vitamins, essentials that are critical to how our immune system is going to work together to create a shield so that sickness doesn't occur. So with me saying this, we have to take a conscious intention to place our attention on being the healthiest human possible. We already know that thought can create how you feel. So if something you are thinking causes irritation, anxiety, angst, feeling heavy and dense, not feeling well, nauseous, etc., let's get in there and change those thoughts before we allow them to process and come out of our mouths. Change that thought will help you change the feelings before they're created. Preventative. Just like we want the highest ingredients and all the things that we do to create the highest immunity, the highest shields against things that can take us down for a few days and wreak havoc on our bodies. We don't even let our bodies do what they need to do when they're not feeling well. Somebody gets a fever, we gotta take the fever away. Fever's bad, bad, bad. Let me grab OTC, over-the-counter stuff. We have to let things build up and gunk up, which would be the mucus that goes in there like Velcro and starts to suck out things that don't serve you, so that your critical life force systems like your lungs, your bronchioles, don't get so heavy that you can't breathe. And it takes things through the urinary tract, right? And through the lymph and the blood, so you have the excretions, right? We have to let our body start getting back into its own homeostasis without all of the chemicals and interferences that we have. Now, we can go into these invisible obstacle courses that are implanted by the bad people, the evil people, to keep you down and to suppress and enslave and extinguish. Or we can say, you have no power over me. I love myself enough to invest in better food, to be selective what I put in my mouth and what I choose to think, to recognize my feelings could be attached to something else. I choose healthier choices in this now moment, which will help you build upon the now moment to better choices in the next moment and the next moment. You ever notice how you're eating really, really healthy, and then all of a sudden you eat something that's junky? And generally what happens is then the doors fly open and, damn it, everything I just did for 3 days, I just blew it. Because then you start craving more of that stuff. But also that shame blame game of, ugh, shit, But we want to get to the pre-shit moments where we stop, drop, sit, become aware, tap in, make conscious decisions, not decisions that have been stored in our 90% subconscious that becomes part of us every day. It's programmed in there of how you should be, all the drama, trauma, things you don't remember, why you're acting like your mother, why this has occurred, why you're so different from your siblings, because something occurred, you don't remember it, but this is the way you act. There's so many components to all of this. But there's something I want you to work on, and that is take out the labeling. Take out the labeling. And start looking at a whole body system. And start knowing that the seen and the unseen affect everything. And if you'd like to see more clearly, you have to become aware and tune in. And that's going to require you to start playing with the alignment of your divine source creator, the light from within you. And it's going to require you to set your dial and to take the step in this moment to make the healthiest, happiest decision for you, and then take the next step and build upon that. And if you mess up on a diet or you do something, don't beat yourself up over it. You might as well just let somebody else beat you. That's ridiculous. You would never allow that. So then why do it to yourself? That's unhealthy. You can say, you know what? I reached for that. I didn't want that. Oh, that slipped out of my mouth. And I created a feeling in someone else. That's on me. I take responsibility for that. If you don't have an opportunity to apologize, you apologize to yourself. You bring it to awareness, give forgiveness and love, send it back to the light. And the more times you do that, the next time something, nope. Same thing with everything that you do. Declutter yourself by releasing all the programs and start doing what you know. You know what is right for you in this moment, and don't judge anybody else, because that's not your lane. It's not your lane. Stay in your lane. Work on your spiritual, athletic self, your tools. Be an example to others. I live with an 80-20 rule on a lot of things, but then sometimes if I actually look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, that was more like 50-50. Okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Reel it back in, get in my lane, love my avatar, connect with my thoughts, connect with my whole body system, mentally, physically, etherically, spiritually, emotionally. And the only thing that you're going to douse and contribute to others is being the strongest, loving pillar of light that you can be. You've got this. You do. And if you need help, hey, look up my website, embodimentofthesoul.com. I'm happy to walk the journey with you, teach you. All right? Much love, light, because you're walking, living, loving light. Please do me a favor with this beautiful finger. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit all so you get my notifications. Share the video with friends. By all means, leave me a comment. All right? Bye.